Now, I'm sure you've heard Charlie Kirk, probably the most prolific right-wing commentator, or at least has been assassinated. Now, he was doing one of his college debate events where he puts up a TP and speaks to college students one at a time and debates them. I'm sure you've seen those videos online. It says owning libtards. It's a compilation of owning liberals and that type of stuff. He was sitting in a white gazebo that had "prove me wrong" written on the top of it, and he was debating students, and he was asked a question about gun violence. The man who posed the question asked, how many mass shooters do you think there have been?
It's incredible. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America?
And Charlie Kirk responded, counting gang violence or not.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
And then seconds afterwards, before he could even finish his sentence, a gunshot rang out and a bullet collided with his neck. Now, there's two major arteries in your neck, and I am almost certain one was hit. If you've seen the video, I'm sure you can agree with me. There was a abundance of blood, at least 3-4 liters. I mean, the second it hit his neck, it was like the dam broke. He immediately slumped in his chair, instantaneously losing consciousness. Initially, there was a video from a distance that showed what happened, and people weren't certain the condition of Charlie Kirk. Then later on, a video from a closer distance, a shorter distance, showed what happened in greater detail. And I'm sure anyone who saw that video knew Charlie Kirk was not going to make it. I vehemently recommend you not to seek out that video or watch it if it comes across your For You page. It is incredibly gory and gruesome, and incredibly hard watch to see a man lose his life. And what's even worse, if you think it's hard watching that video, Charlie Kirk's children and wife were in attendance, from what I have heard, which is, I mean, heartbreaking to hear. No child should have to see anything remotely as gruesome as that, let alone to their own father. I mean, that child in my prayers and in a lot of people's prayers, because that is going to haunt them for the rest of their life. Now, the shooter was an estimated distance of 130 meters away from where Charlie Kirk was sitting, posted up on the roof of Lossy Center where he was seen. There is actually a video of a man or a woman laying on their stomach on the roof of this building. They aren't certain whether this is the shooter, but it seems like quite a convincing speculation. I mean, why else would be someone laying on their stomach on that very roof? They haven't caught the shooter. They did arrest an older gentleman, an older white man, who was begging them to shoot him. I am not entirely sure what was happening there. I don't know why he was saying that. He looked like he was the killer for quite a while, but he is not. So please don't harass that man or his family. Now, of course, this was an act of political violence. Charlie Kirk was, as I said, one of the most prolific conservative activists. I think he was even beyond conservative. He was incredibly right-wing.
It shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid.
Now, of course, a lot of people vehemently disagree with Charlie Kirk and his stances on things, and I've seen a lot of posts online and TikToks of people sort of reveling in this man's death. And if you were truly left-wing, you would not revel in the death of a human being. Political violence, of course, is unacceptable. No matter what you think about this man's political stances, he does not deserve to be put down like a dog, shot in public in front of his family. I mean, shot in the first place. That level of violence is not how you solve disagreements and create bridges between two disagreeing parties. I mean, people are sort of separated from the event because they're in this massive echo chamber online, and this isn't online. This is real life. A man just died and you watched him die and you're reveling in it. I'm hoping this isn't an Archduke Franz Ferdinand situation where it causes a spark that results in even more political violence and separation between the two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, the left and the right, causing a greater rift, causing more friction and tension, which, I mean, it's hard to believe before this there could be any more. But if we're seeing online, people are declaring this as a war on the right, and that is some incredibly dangerous and scary rhetoric. And it's even worse when the president of the country is inciting even more tension and anger between the two different sides, the left and the right, where he said in an address to the people, he made a video where he stated that
for years those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
For years, the radical left has compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis. This type of language is directly responsible for the terrorism we're seeing in our country today. Now, it wasn't the radical left that associated Charlie to Nazis. It was pretty much everyone. He says some incredibly racist stuff, and when you say incredibly racist stuff, you're going to get compared to a Nazi. I mean, that's just the reality of things.
Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
He was talking about the great replacement theory. He spouted a lot of Nazi rhetoric. That isn't a conspiracy, an opinion, or a belief. That's just a fact. And the fact that Donald Trump is clearly here trying to incite further outrage towards the left. He says the radical left, but people don't care about that. They just lump all of the left in together the same way people on the left lump all of the right together. Now, Donald J. Trump released a tweet as well. I'm not entirely sure if this was on his social media platform, Truth Social. It might have been. He said the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and sympathies go out to his beautiful wife Erica and family. Charlie, we love you. Of course, I mirror the sentiments towards the victim's family and the victim himself. Rest in peace. But saying he was loved and admired by all is... I'm not entirely sure about that. Now, I'm not gonna comment much more on the man's beliefs and how much I disagree with him. Incredibly so, the man is dead. His family is in mourning. We don't need to talk about that right now. It's not the time nor the place. I just don't think it's right to suddenly martyr a man who was very clearly ethically compromised. Suddenly everyone thinks he was the greatest man alive and, speaker of the truth. I'm just going to show you some clips. I'm not going to say anything. You can draw your own conclusions with those.
If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative act? No one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian?
I just want to address some of the things people have been saying in Twitter, saying, it's the left, it's the left. Left is the party of violence, which Elon Musk said something along those lines. First of all, why is Elon Musk on Twitter so much? Jesus Christ. And why does he post like a 4chan user? He said something like, the left is the party of violence. I mean, just to give some, context to that and how that is completely wrong. Both sides have become incredibly radical and violent in their ways. Nancy Pelosi's husband was bludgeoned with a hammer after a man broke into the couple's home looking for the top-ranking Democrats with the intention of taking her hostage. David Pepep was motivated by far-right conspiracies that targeted Nancy Pelosi. In June, Minnesota's top Democratic legislator and her husband were murdered in their home. In April, Pennsylvania's governor Josh Shapiro's house was burned in an arson attack while the Democrats and his family slept inside. I mean, I could list countless others, but what is the point in that? I don't want to incite even more violence and aggression and hatred towards the other party as if they're not even humans. There is a great divide and it is incredibly dangerous. A lot of tension, and it's even scarier when people have access to guns that can kill someone from 130 meters away. I mean, what is the purpose of having a rifle like that in a metropolitan area? It makes no sense whatsoever. I cannot believe people are outwardly against gun control. Your people are dying. And people say, don't blame the guns, blame the people using the guns, the lunatics. You're right. Of course the lunatics hold responsibility for what they do with the guns, right? The lunatics have always existed and they will always exist. They're in every single culture and every single different society. They're in England, they're in Kenya, they're in Brazil, they're everywhere, right? If you know they're going to be lunatics, at least make it so that they can't have access to guns. You'd think after the first mass shooting, tens of people dying at the hands of a single lunatic, you'd think, hey, maybe we should stop, selling automatic rifles to people. Single individuals mowing down multitudes of people within 5-10 minutes. That should not be possible. Yes, they're lunatics and they're the ones responsible for the act of violence they commit, but that's why all these other countries, just like England, make it so that guns aren't accessible to the the vast majority of the public, because within that vast majority of the public there's gonna be one psycho that snaps and is gonna use that fucking rifle that's been sitting in his closet for a couple years and kill someone in public. And Charlie Kirk was an avid supporter of the Second Amendment, which was the right to bear arms. He said it is worth it if there is gun violence, if it means maintaining the Second Amendment. Just let that sit with you. That's all I have to say about this. Now I hope this doesn't serve as a kind of flashpoint that inspires more political violence, more murder, more death. I pray for that, but it seems like it could be a very realistic possibility for the future. So, of course, Charlie Kirk and his family is in my prayers and in a lot of people's prayers. That's all I have to say.